No.
The intro has to survive, right? Okay, anyways, hi again. We're on the Camino del Santiago. This is our fifth-ish day. We started in Reliogos. I think that's how it is. No one knows how to pronounce it for some reason. Reliegos.
Yeah.
Okay, don't think too hard about it.
It's not.
Okay, don't worry about it. Point being, well, yeah, actually, like this is the thing people have been saying on the Camino is like, you memorize at most two cities, the one where you started that day and the one where you're going at the end of the day. Like, there's just like too much to remember.
I remember the one that we stayed at because I took a picture of the end.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, we've been to like Bertianos
Kind of cool stuff.
as well. And like, oh yeah, no, the cool looking albergues you'll remember, but it's like a visual memory. But anyways, so what happened? Okay. Nick, I have a hard enough time staying on task when I do these myself. But I'm sure this is entertaining to somebody. Anyways, okay. So what did we do? We arrived yesterday. I took like a lot of stops because I've been in a lot of pain. But I'm trying to follow like the marching band rule, which is sort of like if you make it past day 3, that's when like the worst pain happens, like while you're working. Then after that, your body just like saves all the pain for after you're done with the job. However, turns out that's still a significant amount of like wear and tear, and I seem to maybe be having it rougher than other people.
For me, I think it was also just 3 days.
Really?
I think for a lot of people on the Camino, they say 3 days is the thing.
I've heard after 10 days you're like fully acclimated. So
you're only here for after 10 days.
But, I mean, we're here for like 30 days in total, so we've got time.
Not walking 30 days.
We're walking, whatever. I mean, I guess we're walking like 20 days. And I guess I haven't really told the story, but basically, like 4 of us had graduations within 13 months. So like 4 being like my mom, my 2 brothers, and me, from like different degree programs. So this was sort of like the reward. Like we've kind of nurtured our academic side. Now it's time to like nurture the soul. So our parents are like meeting us in a week now, and then they're going to pick it up. But we have some concerns that because we booked all of our hostels and everything, it might be a little bit off kilter for us to try and stay in all of them, because you sort of like feel out the day, right? Like, oh, I could go a little bit farther when you get to this town, or oh my god, I would rather crawl than walk because my legs hurt so much. Yeah, like if you can afford to not reserve things, don't reserve them. A lot of times it's like way cheaper to find hostels like 7-10 euro versus we've been paying like 23 to 33. Really just depends. But you also get like private rooms if you do it the way we've been doing it.
Not always.
Not sometimes. But yeah, so we met Giacomo yesterday. He's an Italian guy, and prior to that, while I was walking, I found some Americans, one of whom I had seen before, so Caitlin and Peyton, and we wound up talking a lot about history, and like it's kind of interesting. It's like how to view the American Revolutionary War, and I'll just make this a quick aside, but essentially it was like, well, do you view them as like acts of like semi-terrorism because they were destructive, or do you view them as like sort of a justified attack for the sake of like economic oppression, political or religious oppression, and the lack of representation in parliament? So I don't know, it was just like kind of interesting because there are people here who have like very deep knowledge on a lot of topics, and almost everyone we've talked to is like very well traveled, so they'll tell you about like the places they've been and the history that goes with it. And if you find Americans, oftentimes they'll tell you like how those two interplay. But anyway, so we met Giacomo. I just like slept for hours and hours. Then we played a game that Nicholas learned from Skyrim?
No, Fallout.
From Fallout.
I think they play cards in Skyrim.
I don't know, man.
Medieval times.
But yeah, it's called Caravan. Very fun. We did not play it right for sure, but until like the last 2 rounds. And while we were there, we met a guy and his wife, I guess, who were Swiss German, and they've been riding a tandem bicycle the entire way. So that was pretty neat. Turns out, after some looking into it, Swiss German is fairly different from the German they speak in Germany. It also looks like it's not very standardized. So what I read was that Swiss German is like only really written and maybe like texted, and that the reason that its spellings are different was because in Switzerland they speak German, Italian, and French. And so to get the typewriter to accommodate all of those, all of the letters and orientations for those languages, they changed the spelling of some German words. But as a result, like every region spells it its own way. So they can typically still understand like German from Germany. But yeah, I don't know, it was interesting. We also met this guy whose name I can't remember for the life of me, but everyone seems to have met him as well. And he is like, he walked from his house in southern Germany here, and he's 53 days in, he has 77 days, and starts his work the day his Camino ends. And he's camped like 10 nights in the woods. Like he has a very lightweight tent. His whole bag is only 8 kilos. And so he's gone some nights in the woods. He said deer have like literally jumped over his tent while he's sleeping in it. And then apparently when like some of the hostels are closed, he's gotten permission to like stay in their backyards essentially. So I guess that's like an option if you want to carry a tent. And then what? Met some French people. Met a lot of French people actually.
Well, we are on the French Camino.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And almost everyone here started in Saint-Jean in the south of France, I think. No, it's the west of France.
Some people start from their houses.
Yeah, met a guy who started in Belgium. I met an Israeli guy who's been on here for like ages. And then, honestly, not much has happened this morning. But it's interesting to see like some of the towns that we've been through have given me like a very small town feel where it's like everybody knows everybody, and if you're not one of the people they know, you kind of like don't fit in. But outside of that, everyone's been like really, really, really friendly. Happy to talk to you, like accommodate you, try and speak some English. But as I try and talk to people, I'm also trying to get like opinions, like how they view things. And I like when I was at the concert back in Sahagún, I met this one girl who like she'd worked in Australia before for a year, and so she was like excited to like try and practice her English with me, even though I wanted to practice Spanish. But her friends who understand English, like they said in Spanish multiple times, despite her kind of egging them on to speak English with me so they could practice, that they very much did not want to speak it or learn it or get better at it. I thought it was just like interesting to find. But anyways, so here we are. We're finishing in Leon today, and a lot of other people that we've met in Sahagún are finishing there as well. And it's supposed to be a city with a lot to do, and then we might take our first actual day of rest. So yeah, that's roughly it. Anything you want to add?
Nope.
Sure. Any advice for these people who we have no idea who they are, who may watch this outside of ourselves?
Hope Anthony is there.
Oh my god. Fine. I guess we'll talk tomorrow. Buen Camino.